Today is the day that I'm going to be taking this thing apart, and we're going to see if we can actually get this thing to output audio. Then I'm going to go from there. I think I'm going to put in an audio jack here on the side, and then I can use my Blue Yeti or an external mic. I was thinking of using those little microphones, but touch this thing, you're definitely going to hear it, so it's best to have an outboard mic if it works. Just want to mention that I am using a phone to record this video. I would have used my Nikon camera, but unfortunately my Nikon camera is with Nikon at the moment because it's having another problem. So Samsung 8 is what I'm using. So the first thing I'll be doing is taking out the cord here. I'll just leave that thing off the stand and move the stand out of the way. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So I'm going to be putting this cap back on here just to protect the sensor. I'm going to take this thing off. You will go into a sandwich bag. Just keep the dust off of that as well. Alright, so let's take these screws out. I've already had this thing taken apart multiple times in the past. I should actually protect the screen by putting that down. Slide you up. There's a couple of ribbon cables here. Slide you out, and then flip you around, and pull this one out as well. There we are. So I wanted to show you guys what I've done so far here. I took a couple of these jumper pins, they're for breadboards. I just jammed it into the mic port here, and they are going to one of those small little mics I did a video on. And believe it or not, this is actually the microphone that's supposed to go in there. I stuck one of them in there and it fits just perfectly. So that was the microphone that they were going to use in it. So I have everything wired. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to hit record. I'm just going to say a couple example things. I'm going to pull the SD card out and put it into the computer, and we'll see if there's actually any audio. If there is no audio, then there's no point in continuing because in fact the firmware itself won't support this. If it does, then I can continue and do some soldering and go from there. So I'm going to plug it on in. Now you're not going to see anything on the sensor because I have it blocked. All right, let's turn you on. Hit record. And I don't know if it's recording. It shows the camera. Let's hit that button again. Alright, now it's recording. So I'm just going to say a couple examples. Hopefully that this thing is actually recording some audio. I won't know. I'm going to tap this microphone a little bit here. And yeah, hopefully it is actually recording audio. If it is, then this will come in handy. And then I'll move on to the speaker and test to see if there's any audio coming out, maybe playback audio, because I know this thing will do a playback on it. So we'll see from there. And yeah, it's time to pull this SD card out and hopefully that there is some audio on here. Alright, so I'm now on my desktop. I have the SD card here. Hopefully this thing will record audio. I will have to mute my mic because in fact it's probably going to do some weird little back feed or some type of thing in there. So that's if it works. I hope it does, because then I can move on. Alright, it's plugged into my computer. There it is. So open this up. And all the wonderful stuff that I took videos of. So here it is at the bottom. I just want to double check that this thing will output audio. I'm going to mute my mic. I really hope it does record. Alright, now it's recording. So I'm just going to say a couple examples. Hopefully that this thing is actually recording some audio. I won't know. I'm going to tap this microphone a little bit here. And yeah, hopefully it is actually recording audio. If it is, then this will come in handy. And then I'll... Well, ladies and gentlemen, we know that the Hayear HY-1080 does record audio. So that's awesome. So I will continue on with putting that auxiliary port on it. Sweet. This is going to be kind of a pain. I got to hold this and make sure that the other pieces don't come out because I'm not soldering anything. So let's hope for the best here and hit play. Please make some audio. Oh, I hear it. hear that? That's so quiet though. There is audio coming out of it though. That's great news. There is audio. I'm sorry that you couldn't hear that, but it's awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this PCB board out of this casing here, and then I'm going to start soldering some wires to the speaker and the microphone port. I think I'm going to put the speaker right here since I already have a spare, and yeah, it would fit perfectly right there, and there's still enough room there for venting. I'm probably going to put the jack on here as well, I hope. We'll have to see. I'm going to have to grab one of those jacks soon and find out. So I have one of those jacks right here. I'm going to put it in right here. That's going to be fairly close to that edge, so I hope I don't crack it when I drill a hole there. I may have to file most of it out, that way I can just slowly stick it on through, and then I can just tighten this thing up on the other side here and go from there. I'm eventually going to have to get a connector for this phone. That way you can connect it to my capture card and just be able to record everything with OBS instead of just using the phone itself if my camera ever does die. So this is not the way I wanted to make this video, but I don't really have a choice. My other camera is in the shop, so I just got to make do with what I got. Right. Pull this up. I don't want to break anything. It's going to be very gentle with it. I'm going to pull this cord out. One of the wires break off, well, I'll just resolder it back on. And the Wi-Fi has been soldered into place, so I can't completely get rid of this casing yet. I'm going to take this thing off because it's kind of in my way. I can slowly peel it off. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. There's really nothing much on it other than just a tiny little antenna stuck to the case here, so it's not a big deal. I'll just peel it off. Alright, just gonna leave you there. It'll make it so much easier to deal with this anyways. Take you off now, move you away. Alright, just gotta take this thing apart now, that way we can get the sensor out of here. I just don't want this thing to be full of dust and stuff when I start drilling. And hopefully I don't crack the plastic either when I do this. And slowly pop it out of there. Just not sure what direction what goes. Ah, okay, I see. That's just a holder with a bunch of grease on it. I've never actually taken this apart, so this is the first time me actually looking at this. Okay. Well, it slides out. Good to know. So there's the clicky gears. I gotcha. Okay, I'll just keep that off to the side. And this is all I wanted to deal with. So that's got to go on here. So I'm going to drill this hole. I so hope I don't break it. Got some drill bits here. Where'd that piece go? Oh, right here. I need to know the size of this. Start with the smallest one. Work my way up to a little larger than that. And one more larger than that. I want to put you, maybe put it in the middle. It's the best place for it. So I have a mark on exactly where I want that hole to be. Start with the smallest bit first. Next size. Next one up. See, it just took off on me doing that. Next one's going to be even more difficult. I hate DeWalt. Come on. Piece of crap drills. I had nothing but problems with this freaking drill since we got the damn thing. Just barely. Wow. Alright, I had to do a lot of behind the scenes modifications. As you can see, I kind of like filed that corner down. I did some filing on that one side. Then, this is something I didn't want to do, but I had to do it, is I had to cut another hole right in here beside the part where I'm going to be putting that end in. As you can see, I did that because I needed it flush with this and kind of get rid of that curve right there. That way I can just stick it straight up. The reason why I had to do that is if I put this in, you can barely see it, but it's nice and flush in there, and it's pushed down as far as it'll go down this direction. And I'll show you why. Yeah, as you can see, I just put the nut on there like that. So the reason why I did that is because the screen and its ribbon cable gets in the way. So now it won't go in, now it won't get in the way. It is sticking out just a tad, but not much. I'm not putting any pressure on the ribbon cable now. It can stay flush like that. It's just kind of sucky. I actually had to cut another hole right there just to do it, but functionality, it's worth it. So yeah, speaker and mic jack in. Alright, my soldering iron should be ready to go now. Let's find out. Solder sucks. And I need to snip that off. Turn it off. I'll grab my other main soldering iron next. Not the best soldering job, but it works. So what I'm going to do now is just start putting things together. So right now I'm just putting the sensor back in. Alright, sensor's back in. This thing should start making some clicky noise. Oh yeah. Now I want to actually see how this thing's going to sit in here and how far I want to make these wires go. So these wires will pretty much come around down here and around like so, and then to this. I'm not going to solder those in just yet. I want to check the speaker, how I'm going to lay it in here. Alright, so I'm going on to solder the speaker, but before I do I need to tint the wire, because this will fit through there. This will make it easier for me to actually snip. Now there isn't a direction for the speaker, although it didn't really matter much. It's probably like very low volume anyway. There we go. Now since it's tinted, it should snip perfectly without fraying. Oh yeah. So that's it for soldering onto this PCB. I can actually now put it into the case again. So to put it into the case, I need to put the ribbon cable stuff back on. Tint this as well. Solder you in. Snip that. That's it for solder. I don't need to solder anything else. I'm pretty much done with that now. I just have to reassemble it. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I put some tape on the other side of the speaker just to kind of hold it down a little bit. I'm probably going to put a piece of tape over it just in case. I'll keep that one down. As long as it's not in the way of the keypad. I'll find that one out here sometime soon. I can always move it anywhere I want, so it's not a big deal. Tape off there. Alright. I should actually test this thing first to make sure it works. I want to take some pictures before I actually put this thing together. That way I have a thumbnail. Alright. So, last thing I'm going to put together is this right here. I should actually put a little piece of tape on that other wire just to kind of keep it from not moving if I ever do put a battery or something inside of it. Keep it from breaking the solder joints. The last ribbon cable in. Now this jack here, you're probably wondering, is this thing stereo or not? No, it's mono. So mono on both sides. If it was stereo, I would have made a jumper across those two pins right there, but it's not. Yeah, I'll keep it from moving all over the place on the inside. I'm not too worried about the bottom part. It can stay just the way it is. So I'm good with that. Alright, it's time to test this thing to make sure that it works. I have an auxiliary jack there. I'm going to plug in this cord here first. And I'm going to connect it to the same exact mic I went and tested it with. I think I wired it up correctly. I'll find out here right away. I just got to plug in the power. And hope I did. Alright. And alright, I'm recording now. I'm just going to eat this microphone. Hopefully it works. Maybe if I talk a little louder, maybe I can hear a little speaker in it. Tap, 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 tap. I'm going to eat it. Alright, it should work. Let's find out. Alright, so this is it right here. I'm just going to mute my mic and we'll hear it. It's recording. I'm just talking into the microphone and just kind of, I don't know, eat it, I think. So there is some buzzing going on there. I'm going to try to record this without anything plugged into the jack there just to see if that buzzing still continues. It could just be the crappy cord that I got here, or I may have to put like some capacitor or something on there just to filter that out. Okay, so I'm going to be recording with the Hayear here. I'm just going to be testing this. I got my mic outputting directly into it, and hopefully there's no buzzing, because there was buzzing before. But I'm going to be testing volume and go from there. This is just an example with my Blue Yeti. I'm just talking through here. I'm going to turn up the volume a bit. Alright, we are about at half here. So this is half volume on the Blue Yeti with the Hayear HY-1080. Now I'm going to turn up to about 3/4 of the way, and I don't really want to go any farther than that because just in case something ends up happening. But I think this should be just about good, but let's bring this thing back down to half and about 1/4 of the way. And now I'm going to stop recording here and then find out if this works. There we go. So now, since I did my test, I'm just going to unplug it from there. I'm going to plug it back into the computer. We're going to view the file on here. We're having to take out the SD card all the time, right? There's really no point in doing that. Just have to go to mass storage, hit OK. It should pop up on the desktop. This is just an example with my Blue Yeti. I'm just talking through here. I'm going to turn up the volume a bit. Alright, we are about at half here. So this is half volume on the Blue Yeti with the Hayear HY-1080. Now I'm going to turn up to about 3/4 of the way, and I don't really want to go any farther than that because just in case something ends up happening. But I think this should be just about good, but let's bring this thing back down to half and about 1/4 of the way. Now I'm going to stop recording here and then find out if this works. Well, I'd be damned there, Sonny. That sounds perfect. Wow. That thing can really take in some good audio out of the Yeti, so I am definitely impressed that that is one of the best mods I got for this. I just want to hear that through the speaker of the Hayear HY-1080, so I'm going to unplug this again, and let's hear this through the speaker. Alright, let's hear the speaker. I'm just going to play that clip. I think this is the clip if it wants to play. Do you want to play? Just an example with my Blue Yeti. I'm just talking through here. I'm going to turn up the volume a bit. Alright, we are about at half here. So this is half volume on the Blue Yeti with the Hayear HY-1080. Now I'm going to turn it up to about 3/4 of the way, and I don't really want to go any farther than that because just in case something ends up happening. But I think this should be just about good, but let's bring this thing back down to half and about 1/4 of the way. Now I'm going to stop recording here and then alright. So it's got audio in now and it can play audio out. That's awesome. You know, it's actually quite nice to actually be able to talk through the microscope, because if I don't want to use the computer, then I don't need to. I could just use the Yeti on this and everything's good. I just want to show you some components. This was my very first time hand soldering these little SMD components, and so don't criticize it too much, but it gives you a rough idea how this sounds with the Blue Yeti attached to the microscope while I explain how bad this is. Now, I did put a little too much solder on here on quite a few of them, like this one right up here. This is kind of like overkill, but you gotta think I was hand soldering this and I didn't use a microscope or magnifying glass. I was just looking directly at it, and it's not too bad, but it gets worse when we have a look at some of the chips here. Yeah, you can tell that I tried and attempted this multiple times, and I kind of scraped off some of the pads. It wasn't sitting correctly either, as you see here. There's a part of the pad there that got scraped off. It is all connected though, but yeah, it just looks really bad. But don't criticize too much. That's my very first time doing SMD soldering. I did practice a little bit more and I'm a lot better at it now, but hey, this one was actually pretty good though. I got to approve that one. That's questionable. Like these 3 pins right here are actually pretty good. So I know when something is good and when something is bad. Like that's crap. Some of it's yeah, you get the idea. But anyways, hopefully this little demo test here showing how crappy my SMD soldering is a good example of what the Blue Yeti sounds like directly into the Hayear HY-1080 microscope. So it's now complete. There is the port right there, so you can plug in your Blue Yeti. I do recommend a Blue Yeti because of the fact that you can adjust the volume and it amplifies the audio as well. See, where if you put in a normal mic, I'm sure you probably have to yell because this thing doesn't amplify it. It does kinda a little bit, but it works very, very well with the Blue Yeti. You can just plug it directly in there from the headset jack port on the Yeti itself. And I have it about halfway volume on it, so it works. Unfortunately, I had to cut a little bit out of here just to get this thing closer to this side, which is a bummer. But it's not as big of a bummer as what I had to deal with off camera. Oh my god, I had a big problem with this microscope. I took precautions by taking the sensor out. I put a cap on it just to kind of keep it clean, make sure no dust gets inside of it, but that did not seem to help. So off camera, I took the sensor apart. There's a little film that's just before the sensor. I had to clean that in the Ziploc bag with rubber gloves and just my isopropanol with Q-tips. So I got that as clean as possible. And I actually had to use Q-tips and isopropanol right on the sensor itself. Good thing it was like a glass cover on the sensor. But it just isn't good enough. There is some micro dust on it. And it does show if you zoom into it on here. However, if you're zooming into something on this, then you don't see it. But I really wish that I was able to clean it in a dust-free environment, and then it would have been completely clean. But that was a big job having to clean that sensor. It was really bad. It was so bad that you can literally see pixels across the entire screen. It was that bad. But yeah, anyway, the modification is now complete. I don't really see any other modification I'm going to do to this thing at all, until maybe I change this out here and probably put something else in here. This is really good for the soldering stuff, but I want to go a little bit farther. I know I've seen something on Banggood there that had 400x zoom. I don't know if it will actually catch up to this or not, whether or not it works, but if it does, that's awesome. Might be the next investment I might do to this microscope, but yeah, it's pretty much done. It does output sound. I put a little speaker in there so you can hear it. And yeah, having the Blue Yeti in here and having the record directly onto the SD card is awesome. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You never know, I might do some other type of mod of this. But yeah, speaker, mic, heck yeah. That's awesome. Peace. Where's the remote to turn this thing off? Oh, there it is. Found it. Aha. Bye.